All right, let's just cut to the chase. This channel is about to change, and not in like a cliche we're pivoting kind of way, but like real change. And let me explain. For a while now, I've felt like the channel is a little bit stagnant, maybe stale, and it's felt off for a few years. I've talked about it in the past, and I've definitely mentioned on the channel that I felt bored, maybe even a little burned out, and sometimes even tired of EDC gear. And I actually don't think any of those are true. I come into the office every single day and work feels good. I'm excited about a lot of things. I'm not bored. There's way too many things to talk about. I'm not burned out these days. And I'm not tired of EDC gear. There's plenty of really cool stuff on the horizon. For me, personally, I have some designs coming out and have some other stuff I'm working on that I haven't mentioned to you guys yet. And I'm very excited for all of it. So if we're going to talk about like what's wrong here or what's been going on with the channel, we have to go back to 2023, maybe even 2022. But for me, looking back, 2023 is a huge outlier in the history of this channel. That was a dark year for me. Like externally, I'm sure everything seemed fine. Nobody noticed anything major. But for me, internally, there were a lot of struggles. There was a lot going on with the channel. The views were down. I felt like I was completely disconnected from my community, and I didn't see a way forward with the channel that like I would have been happy with. This is gonna sound a little mushy and whatnot, but that was also the year I met Ricky. We met at Blade Show in Atlanta, and a few weeks after that we reconnected and I decided to hire Ricky. And what, 6 months later, Ricky moved here and now he is full-time. He works here. We are in the office every day together. And that was a huge change for me because prior to hiring Ricky, I had brought in a few friends that had worked for the channel, but in reality, it was all still me. So I had the channel in 2023. I had launched Carry Commission. I had 2 young kids at home, and that was a lot to handle. That was a lot to juggle. And to be honest, I feel like I was a deer in headlights and I went onto autopilot. That's where I was in 2023. It felt like a blur, and it was just in my quick memory of it, it just felt like a bad year. But when I hired Ricky, we started working through a lot of what was going on. We started putting the channel under a microscope. We looked at the industry. We looked at algorithms and all the social platforms and all these things. And we started to make sense of a lot of it. And you can look. If you look at the channel, 2023, the views were down. The content didn't feel like it hit right. And if you look at towards the end of the year, we pulled out of that rut. It was a great end to 2023, even though the rest of the year was a down year and felt just off. And then 2024 was an amazing year. Best year of the channel yet, and it felt great. But as the year came to a close, something still felt a little off for me. And then, after taking some time off, a lot of introspection and time sitting around smoking cigars and whatnot, we come back into the office, and then this week, Ricky shares a video with me. And I also stumbled upon another video, and both of those are kind of why we're here doing this video. The first one was from Matt Carricker of Off the Ranch, or Demo Ranch, who announced his retirement. I watched that video, and almost every single thing he said in that video resonated with me. I've been making content for 15 years now, or going on, maybe a little longer. It's been a long time, and I've definitely been through my phases of burnout. I've definitely felt like I've put in a lot of time into content. And the other video is from Pat CC, who I had not actually watched at all ever before, but Ricky shared it with me. And he explained a lot of how I feel about this channel and about one of our most popular series on the channel, or at least like crowd favorites, which was the EDC Weekly. People have been begging for me to bring the EDC Weekly back for a very long time, and we've probably tried about a dozen times, and every single time it fails. It's square peg, round hole. The audience begs for it. It doesn't get the views. I feel burned out making it, and it's just the same old, same old. And we've tried to mix it up. We've tried to make it more interesting. We've tried to change things, and it's not worked at all. Ricky and I, since we came back from taking time off after the holidays, have sat around this office sometimes for entire days, just talking about what the plan is. What are we gonna do? Where is this channel headed? We don't wanna do the same thing we did last year. Like, it worked, it was fine, but at the end of the year, it still felt a little off. So why? That's what we set out to figure out. Why did it feel off? What were we doing that we didn't want to be doing? And when it comes down to it, if you look back at the history of this channel, I feel like I kind of lost my way a little bit. And I don't think it's explicitly me. I don't think it's just me. I think it's the entire industry has changed so much. So if you look back, everyday carry dates back to 2009, maybe even further than that. In forums, Bernard created everydaycarry.com in 2009. I started this channel in 2018. And at that time in 2018, everyday carry was really just a community. It wasn't recognized as a product category at all. It was just communities kind of fractured online in different places. On YouTube, if you searched everyday carry or EDC, all you would get is like 40 pages of results that were Electric Daisy Carnival, and then a couple of EDC updates from some bigger channels, but it wasn't a thing on YouTube really prior to my channel. I might be wrong in that. There may have been one or maybe a couple that I've never heard of, but as a product category and as a category on YouTube, it wasn't a thing. And fast forward a few years after that, you have CRKT and Gerber putting everyday carry on their blister packaging in stores. Now, everyday carry has its own category on YouTube, and there are publications like Gear Patrol who have entire verticals for everyday carry. It's a thing now. It's a product category. It's so much more than just a community. And because of that, it's changed. There's so many more brands involved. There are companies now that were companies before that did not make everyday carry gear that are now. And the knife companies have absolutely exploded. Going to my very first blade show in Atlanta in 2019 was a very, very different experience than going to blade show this past year. It's a totally different landscape.
Hey, Future Ricky here. I'm going to cut into Taylor's State of the Union address thing going on here to thank our channel sponsors because we have bills to pay. I have 2 dogs, a cat, and a snake. They got to eat. I got to eat. So first up, we want to thank Big Idea Design. They make a lot of really cool pocket tools, knives, and pens. They've been a channel sponsor for a very long time, and I have a coupon code. It's carry off. That gets you 10% off the whole site. It goes against Taylor's code, which is carry on. Lame. Then we have Worksharp. They have a fancy new sharpener called the Precision Professional Adjust Elite. It's the brand new fanciest sharpener. Comes in a really cool hard case for traveling. It has new plates on there, so that way you can get a mirror polish edge and be the coolest guy in the block with your super sharp knife. But if you do order one of those brand new fancy sharpeners, the shipping starts at the beginning of February. So you can start off the year with a fancy new sharpener. And last but not least, we got Whatnot. We go live on there. I wish I could tell you the exact times that we go live, but it's kind of up in the air. Time works differently in this office. But when we go live on Whatnot, we will be posting it on Instagram. Come join us. We sell off some of the cool stuff that Taylor has collected over the years. We also do a lot of giveaways like a brand new $500 Malibu in bronze. It's a Carry Commission exclusive. We gave one away yesterday to someone. Very, very cool stuff. Whatnot also has a bunch of other live streams that you can join if you're into Pokemon cards, clothing, all of that stuff. Whatnot is a wonderful platform. So come join us, hang out, eat some pickled eggs, drink some whiskey. It's a good time. Anyways, thank you so much for the channel sponsors. Now back to Taylor's EDC State of the Union address thing.
So because of all that and all these new brands and faces and everything in the industry, it's evolved and grown, and in a lot of ways, in ways that don't necessarily resonate with me. So for a long time, I felt like my job, because this is my job after all, I felt like my job, if it were to be described, was to know anything and everything happening in the EDC world and share it with you guys. Obviously, I've never covered every single knife release. I've not even attempted to do that because we work way too slow for that. And there are amazing channels out there like Metal Complex, Neves, and all these other guys who do show almost every single knife coming out. They do an amazing job of that. That's never what I set out to do with my channel. But to that point, what I feel like I set out to do with my channel is not really what I feel like I'm doing now. And that's why I think this entire time, for at least the last several years, it's felt off. And what do I mean by that? What I originally set out to do with this channel was help connect you guys with the brands that deserve to be connected with you. And not that I'm like the person who decides who deserves it or not. It's just, I wanted to find the coolest, best stuff coming out and connect it with you guys and make it easier to find. I wanted to be a discovery platform for you guys to find the best everyday carry gear, period. And I feel like we've done a decent job of that. One of the coolest ways that we did that originally was the EDC Weekly, which I just explained. Just doesn't work anymore. I feel like it ran its course and the format doesn't fit, we'll call it new YouTube. It just doesn't work. So to mitigate that, last year, I decided to launch a newsletter called the EDC Weekly. If you have not heard of this, now you have. The EDC Weekly is a weekly newsletter that I am putting together and putting it out there. And the idea behind that is I want to find every single drop happening in the entire industry every single week and put it in one place, because thanks to the almighty algorithms that drive the internet now, that has become harder than ever, right? Following the brands you like and keeping up with everything is actually way harder now than it used to be because of these algorithms, which are supposed to help us do that, right? That's a whole nother topic on its own, of massive black hole of, anyway, my newsletter, the EDC Weekly, is a giant middle finger to the algorithms. I am personally going through and just dealing with that so that I can put everything in one place for you guys. So that is how I feel like we can continue the spirit of the EDC Weekly, connecting you with the brands, and also continuing to do EDC submissions. So if you guys submit your EDC, which you could do at weekly.bestdamnedc.com, if you continue to submit that, they're going to be featured in the newsletter and on the website. Eventually, maybe there could be a video component, but I did not feel like right now is the time to try no, we're not even thinking about that. It's an email, it's a newsletter, go sign up. There are giveaways. There are also stickers if you share that with your friends that you can get in the mail for free. Anyway, this is not about that, but if you do miss some of those things, we're still doing that, just in text form. But somewhere along the way, EDC turned into this chase, this new pry bar or a new knife or new flashlight or new this or new that or whatever the hell it is. And I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but that's exactly why I left the tech industry. I left the tech industry because I got so tired of new phone, new tablet, new watch, new this, new that. Every single week, it drove me insane. And that's what led to my burnout. But the difference now is that I don't have to do that. I worked for somebody else when I was in the tech industry for whatever publication I was with at the time, and I was at the mercy of what they told me I had to do. But I'm at the helm. This is my ship, and we're going to take a different course. What we want to do is take this opportunity to explore the parts of everyday carry in this industry that have been basically unexplored, right? Find the stories. Talk about the practicality of things. Why is something good? Also, why is something bad, right? What makes a good flashlight? That idea hit me just a couple of weeks ago. And I started planning out this video on what makes a good flashlight. And the thing is, that's a really tough video to make. So for the last several years, we've been doing the easy videos. The videos that are, oh, this thing is kind of cool, show it to you and then move on. And then that piece of gear gets tossed in a drawer and I never touch it again. And that, to me, has always felt disingenuous. Because it is cool, it's great, but it's not something that truly moves the needle for me. And that, I think, is what's always kind of felt off for me. But looking back over the last year, right, 2024, I've said it a few times now, was an amazing year for this channel. And you know what made me the happiest through all of that? The content I enjoyed the most were things like EDC hacks. Before I started this channel, like literally right before I started this channel, I worked for CNET and I was a life hacks editor for CNET. I did life hacks content and I loved that. That was awesome. The other videos that I really liked were the videos that explained how or why I did something. The stuff that shows you how to use the gear you already have even better. This is the stuff that we really want to focus in on in 2025. We want to do more of the how and the why and a little bit less of the what. That's not to say we won't still do some of the videos that you guys really enjoy, right? Like, I still really enjoy just grabbing a camera sometimes and running to the store and seeing what they have, because I think that that's real. That's the stuff you can get right now. If you head out and you need something, it's good to show you guys what you can get where. That's practical. We're going to continue testing gear. We have a whole plan for all of these tests that we want to do, and there's no reason we haven't already done them, other than the fact that it's not exactly the easiest stuff to put together, right? We did this Ozark Trail Benchmade test, and boy, oh boy, were you guys upset about that one. And I get the irony of me wearing a Benchmade hoodie right now, but you guys, like, whew, you guys were charged up about that. But that was cool. That was fun, right? We had a lot of fun making that video. We went into that video with no expectations, no preconceived notions of what was going to happen, and it was a lot of fun. God, the amount of people asking me about Benchmade at Blade Show West was something. Oh my God. New content, kind of where we want to go with some things. Last year, Ricky started doing these real Umentaries on Instagram. He also made a couple of longer form ones. He posted one on his channel. We actually posted one here on this channel that he did with Bob Terzula. And I thought that was awesome. And I want to give Ricky the freedom to do some of that if he really wants to explore some different topics that maybe I don't care about as much. But Ricky and I sat down a few weeks ago and made this list. And it's a checklist of things that we have to satisfy before we turn on the camera and make a video. And the very first checkbox on that list is, do we give a damn? That is the first thing. If we can't check that box, we don't make the video. Because if we don't give a damn, most likely you guys don't either. And sometimes you would, but like, if I'm making a video I don't truly care about, I think no matter how hard I try, it's pretty obvious that I'm not in it. And here's the thing. I have this channel. I've built this whole business. And if I'm not enjoying it, like, what the hell's the point? I want to enjoy what I do. And I think the other big thing that's been missing is having fun. I have said it for about 3 years now, maybe 4. This year, I'm going to have fun. This year, I'm going to have fun. And then you'll look back and I'm like, I had a little bit of fun. It was a little bit of fun. I want there to be a lot more fun. And I want that to be obvious to people watching. We do enjoy a lot of what we get to do. Like, man, there is nothing more fun than going to Georgia Bushcraft or Blade Show or going to hang out with the Big Idea Design guys in Chattanooga or the guys at Smoky Mountain Knife Works in Sevierville. Like, there are so many things that we get to do that are fun, and I want to do more of that. And I want to bring you guys along. I've been a stickler for quality for a very, very, very long time, and it's really hard to turn that back. It's just to dial it back a little bit is tough. But I think in order for us to move forward and have more fun, we've got to just peel back the curtain a little bit and bring you guys along on some of the more fun stuff that we never film it, ever. We never film it, but we have so much fun. So yeah, those are the things, right? That is what I feel like has been missing, is a little bit of the fun and a lot more practicality in what we cover. And you might be asking where a lot of this is coming from. And I've had to ask myself that same question. And if you look at the last several years, there's some things that stick out to me, and maybe to you guys also, that answer that question. One of them is I started going to Georgia Bushcraft, and I started talking with survivalists and hanging out with them, and then became good friends with a lot of those people. And that changed how I feel about everyday carry. It changed the lens that I look at all this stuff through. Just 2 weeks ago, I went on a trip called Suffering with Salyer, and I went out on a cold, rainy night with a bunch of guys into the woods with minimal gear. I had a knife, I had an extra layer, I had a tarp and a water filter, and that was pretty much it. And we made it work. We didn't even get cold. It was like 35 degrees and just damp as hell, and we had a comfortable night in the woods. So yeah, stuff like that has changed how I approach a lot of this stuff, and also spending time with Zach. That was one of the biggest things for me, is just seeing how Zach moves through the world and how he looks at things and how genuine he is and how little he gives a damn about like new and flashy things. I genuinely don't care about new and flashy things all that much. I carry the same old gear all the time. You guys often say that I never use any of my shit. I get the most flack for all the shiny new things I have, and it's because shiny new things come through the door often, and for a long time I felt like it was my job to share all of that with you. But in reality, the things that I use and carry are pretty beat up. I don't take care of shit. I'm pretty rough on equipment. But I also spend way too much time in this office, you know, worrying about, you know, the color of this video or that. And I'm not going to make any more empty promises, but yeah, there's a lot of changes happening. I am honestly very excited and hopeful for 2025 to be the best year yet. For starters, my Klingman is coming out in just a couple of weeks. I am very excited about that. And I get the irony of me talking about not all the new and flashy things, and then here I am with a new knife, but I didn't take this lightly. It took Civivi a very long time to convince me to make a knife. About 3 years. They've been talking to me about it for a long time, and I said to them, I don't want to just make another knife. I don't want to just make another knife that's going to be discontinued in 2 or 3 months. I want a knife that matters. So I designed something that I wanted, that didn't really exist, and this is it, the Klingman. It's a modern traditional, it's budget friendly, and there's not really anything quite like it out there. I also have this thing, which I don't really think I've mentioned or said much about on this channel. It's been a long time coming. This is another company I have. It's a totally different company, long story there. But this is Gaslight Industries. This is a jerry can lighter. Takes a standard Zippo refill, and these will be out in the next month or so. I've got a lot of really exciting stuff that I've been working on in the background for years, and it's all finally coming out. There's also a Tactile Knife Co. knife coming out, probably also in the next month. It's really funny because all of this stuff has been being worked on in the background for various amounts of time, some years, some months, and they're all kind of coming out like in the same 3 weeks. But yeah, there's a lot to be excited for, and I think you guys are really going to like where we're headed with the channel. I'm very hopeful for it and excited. I think we're also bringing in another editor, and all that's going to do is open us up to make even better content. So I leave you guys with a question. What do you want to see? What questions do you have about the knife or the everyday carry industry? What topics do you feel are completely underexplored or unexplored that we should kind of shine a light onto? We've got a lot of plans for this year, but we also want to keep it open so we can dive into topics that make us a little uncomfortable. And what I mean by uncomfortable is just like, I don't know as much as I should know about metallurgy, right? So I want to take it upon myself to learn things like this and be able to share that with you and make topics that are maybe a little complex much easier so that I can explain it to anybody and everybody. That was kind of what I did in the tech world for a long time. I took complex topics and made them simple. So it's stuff like that that has been missing from my life and that I would like to explore on this channel. So tell me in the comments what you would like to know. Now, no matter how big or small the question, leave it in the comments. That's it. Missed you guys. I'm glad we're back. And yeah, here's to 2025 and all we have ahead. And with that said, let's do the damn thing. Wait, are we ending the video how we normally start it?
That's a new thing for 2025.
I kind of like it. Let's do the damn thing.